What up, patrons, and welcome to the coffee shop once again. Here's another little update for the support and resistance in the csc-HARSI. I was doing something in the development of the Heikin-Ashi algo, and in a few minutes, I will show you something highly beneficial to keep you out of traps and get you into moves early. That is coming into the development of that tool. In the meantime, while I was doing something in the algo, I decided I'm going to drop that cleaner code that allows you a little bit more beneficial visuals on your charts uh, and put it in the csc-HARSI. Now, listen carefully. I'm developing the algo. I wanted to take a piece of the algo and backstep it and put it into the csc-HARSI and give you guys that update. So that's what I'm doing today. I know we've talked a few times about support and resistance. I'm really not happy with the way the support and resistance levels were showing up in the previous version of the HARSI. So I'm updating that for you. And I know that your charts would have become very cluttered with lots of support and resistance lines. So you'd have lines here and lines here and lines here. It was picking up all of the swings of all the support and resistance levels. I didn't want it to do that, but that's the way it came out. Now, I was able to recalculate it and do something a little bit more for you. Don't worry about this line here. That's just I'm taking my point where I'm working on something. Now, you're going to see that in the update of the csc-HARSI, you're going to see a label like this. This means support. You're going to see a label like this. This means resistance. Price is moving up and it bounced back down. See the arrow? Okay. Price was moving down. Price is moving down, hit a level, and it's bouncing back up. Let's go to the chart right here. Now, how does this work? Well, I decided to allow you to use it as easily as the previous version, so there's no learning curve there, right? So let's just do the quick walkthrough. Here's a trend line. I'm taking trend line, right? I'm sorry, horizontal line, don't I? Oh, yeah, I don't need that. Mine's automatic. So you want a horizontal line at the close of this candle. Okay. Now, I don't want this. Get off my screen. See, I don't rehearse these things. It's not like I do, like some of these other people do these videos where they rehearse this stuff. So here you've got resistance. Price is moving down and you go bloop right there. Okay, great. Now, what does this mean for you? I'm only going to draw two, right? You see how infrequent they actually show up now? This actually draws out a more proper range for you where there's a lot more volume or effective volume that works for you or against you in your trades right now. So let me move that part off the screen so it's not distracting any of you. Now, you see here you've got support, resistance. Okay, now a little bit easier to see what's going on. You've only got two things on your chart. Since this one was resistance, I'm going to color this one red just for the purpose of the video. You don't have to do it. I like keeping mine all green. I just want to see what it's doing. Now, you can see this was support. This one, even though it's resistance, it turned into support. This is why I don't really color them, but I just want to keep it significant. Now, the benefit to the new calculation isn't just so that you can draw support and resistance. It's also so you can draw a key trend line at a key point in price action. Now, you get support. Go to your support, right? You drew it right there. Bloop. You get resistance. Draw a line straight through resistance. Okay. Now, on my chart, it looks kind of weird because, well, all this price is here. But to be honest with you, you would do this in a way so that all this price wasn't even here yet. And I'm talking about you got this marker and you got this marker. So that means all of this doesn't exist yet, right? But you see this uptrend starting and you want to know, where do you go? How far can you get in on this, right? So here's your trend line. You simply need to stay in this until something breaks your trend, right? Or you watch price action and you should know more things about that until you get an exit indication of some kind. Now, you can use a moving average to get out or whatever you want to use. So you see this one, this takes place here. Several hours later, this one takes place here. And you know that now you have broken resistance and you get into an upward trend. But then all of a sudden, another one shows up, right? You get this one here. Boom, you're good. Let me make this one green. So you could see that it was ranging and you finally got out of the range. You get a test on this new level. You get a test and a breakthrough of that new level. So you get in and you go long and you get out when you want to get out. Hopefully you get out at the right place. So what do you do now? Remember these levels that you drew earlier? You can target them for your shorts. And as you can see, price moves down, okay? Not only does it break through your support level, it breaks through your trend line. So you can target the next level down. If you want to go further, you can target that previous swing low. And if you look left and right, that's exactly where it goes to. Now, you get during this downward move, you get resistance somewhere. So that's like right here, right? Oop, right here. Now, like I said, you can connect these like trend lines, right? So I drew one from this one to this one. So what about drawing from this one to this one? Here, you draw resistance, trend line here to this one, right there. While you were in this trade to the upside, you would have seen this level show up. You drew this trend line. You got in. You could get out and get in on a short position when you see this. Look at that retest. You drew this line. You get in at the retest, right? You drew this line. You get in at the move up, and it gives you a test right in here. So this is telling you several hours ahead of where price will change direction and give you a clear indication of a proper entry point. You could have entered here, but you never would have known that price would continue down. You need to wait for a retest. You drew this line way back here, okay? You drew this line way back here. You drew this line nowhere. You didn't draw this one yet. So let's see what that looks like. Let me take this off, take that off. We're going to go from here to here, right? Stay with me. Stay with me. I feel the excitement. The excitement is climbing, right? You get one here. This is a confirmation that you got a retest. So not only was this a retest, this was a retest. Done deal, right? So you were bouncing around in this range. Then all of a sudden this shows up and says resistance. Okay, still bouncing around. You drew your trend line. You got to retest. Get in for the short and go. Just go. Now, let's see what else is happening here. I see something interesting taking place. A trend line from here, right? From resistance, the top of the candle, to support, the bottom of the candle. Now, what does this tell me? This tells me that this green line that you drew earlier was resistance. It was resistance. Then it became support. Nothing is going to respect this line. You can probably guess that price will break down and then break back up through this line easily. And sure enough, what happens? Price goes back up. You can see it there on the other end of the screen. And you would have known that had you drawn yet another trend line, right? You would get one from support to resistance. Where's your resistance? Right here. You draw a line straight through it, and you can see bounces around, clearly goes through both your trend line and your support level, goes back through it again, and it continues going. Disrespecting this line, completely disrespecting that line because it went from support to resistance and back. So you could say bye-bye to that line and say, hey, price is moving up. We're good to go. Now, I said I wanted to show you something interesting that's coming to the algo, right? So here's your support. Here's your resistance. Draw your horizontal lines as you always did. You can use them for key levels to drop, for price to drop back down to breakthrough. Draw your trend lines connecting one to the other. It doesn't matter if you start with support or resistance, you're going to see your trend line and the direction that will be broken in the future. Okay, just draw a line straight through the other one and go straight out. Just nice and long, right? Now, the interesting thing is if you get multiple resistance indications, one after the other, with no support in between, price falls. So you get resistance, resistance, price falls. Then you get support, support, price goes flat. Then you get another resistance. What does that mean? There is a scientific phrase, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So if you have two pushing down and two pushing up, then that means price is going flat. But if you get one more pushing down, price goes down. If you get one more pushing up, price goes flat. If you get one more pushing down, price goes down. If you get two more pushing up, right? Price was going down. Now price is going flat. Now price should be going up. And it's trying to go up, but it meets more resistance. So it's kind of funny. What I'm going to be doing with the algo is there will be a counter on the side of the screen, and it's going to show you plus and minus and zero. It'll find a range, the nearest range, and it's going to show you zero. When it finds support, it'll say +1. That means you are in an uptrend. If it finds two supports, you are +2. You're in a stronger uptrend. If you get, after that, two resistance, it's going to go back to zero. It's just going to add one and subtract one every time you get one and get the other. And that will tell you if you are in a slight uptrend or a slight downtrend automatically. Now, and if you don't believe how that works, you can take the new version of the csc-HARSI and you can actually count these on paper if you want to and see how that works out. Because you'll see here I got 2, but here I got 3 and price dropped. And then I got one more, price went flat. Okay. They just cancel each other out. Now, what's the other thing that's happening to the algo? Let me show you this. It is a double stochastic strategy. Let me put on just the stochastic and shrink this down. I want you to see what's coming soon. Let me get rid of the Heiken Ashes and get rid of everything else. Okay. Long positions, short positions, support and resistance. I'm getting rid of all of that stuff. There's an interesting thing that I see about the stochastic. Everything is gone. The only thing I have left on are the bands and the stochastic. Now, it is a double stochastic strategy, and you have to think of stochastic like a volume meter. It starts at 0 and it goes to 100. You'll see that stochastic never goes below 0. It almost never goes below, it never really goes below 0. I have two stochastic symbols on here, right? This is my stochastic. This is the regular stochastic. You can see that mine is orange, theirs is red, okay? Now, what's the significance here? Okay, well, my orange one is, let's say, the gas pedal, okay? And the regular one is what's happening with the gas pedal. So the gas pedal says you are moving up. When you have gas way down here below the 50, right? But my midline is off. That's why it looks weird. Midline, midline, midline. Where are you? Midline. There. So down here below the 50 level, all of this gas doesn't matter. But once you get above the 50 level with the amount of volume or gas or pressure, okay, this amount of pressure above the 50 says that, hey, whatever your stochastic is doing, it's going to be significant now. So this is basically saying you have a lot of pressure. I'm sorry, you have pressure to the upside. You have pressure to the upside. Okay, this is the upside. This is the downside, right? Now this is saying you are losing pressure to the upside. And look at what happens. You get a nice movement up, and then it starts to move flat. You are flat to the upside. You are flat. You are losing, you are losing pressure to the downside, which means it's still flat. If you lose pressure to the downside, you don't move. If you lose pressure to the upside, you move, right? So here's my ribbon. I'm gaining pressure to the upside and it moves up. I'm losing pressure to the downside, so it doesn't move. I'm losing pressure to the downside, right? Loss of pressure. There's no pressure here. So this downward push is not working. Now, right here, I get some upward push, but it's below the 50. But it's pushed to the downside. So I get a couple of nice candles pushing down. It's still holding price kind of flat. Now, the upward pressure is above the 50, but I'm still below the 50 here until here. But I've lost pressure. This is basically telling you a range. I know it sounds confusing, but basically you want to see either full green or full red above this 50, right? So let me show you what that looks like when it starts to rally. Here is a push to the downside, right? Here, there. Here is a beginning of a push to the upside, but then all of a sudden it's lost. And here it's lost. Here's a push to the upside. I really have to find a rally. Here we go. This is a good one. Now, you can see that everything is above the 50 level, right? Okay. You see my stochastic breaks the 50 level and starts moving up into this high pressure area. At the same time, the regular stochastic is green, but it's not green until here. So that's basically saying you have a lot of pressure and you're gaining more pressure to the upside right here. Price moves up. Now, at the same time, you have a lot of pressure. You're losing pressure to the upside. Now you have pressure, okay, here to the 50. You have a lot of pressure to the downside, and price moves down. It seems confusing, but I'm going to end up developing this enough that you're going to be able to understand it very quickly. But that being said, you can use your stochastic like this. Currently, your stochastic. I'm turning mine off. Now, your stochastic is only relevant when it's over the 50 level. Once the stochastic breaks the 50 and it's green, you have pressure to the upside. If it's over the 50 and it's red, still over the 50, you have pressure to the downside. If it's down and below the 50, it means nothing. Price moves flat. If it's up and below the 50, it means nothing. This is flat. So everything under the 50 for your stochastic means nothing. Don't worry about crossovers, cross unders, and all that stuff. Don't worry about it, okay? Because nothing happens. The only thing you care about is when your stochastic breaks the 50 level and moves in either direction. Here you see it's moving up and then it's moving down. Price moves up and then it moves down. But what happens when the stochastic gets below the 50? It hits a flat area. It goes flat until it starts doing something else. Green moves up. Red moves down. Only over the 50 area. Just wanted to give you that little tidbit. And then the algo will be showing you exactly how much pressure you have in your stochastic. Okay. It'll show you how much. Do you have a little pressure in your cross up, or do you have a lot of pressure in your cross up? Okay. Because you want to know when you can take a green stochastic over your 50 and how far you can go with it, right? You want to know when this green is losing pressure. You see that the green is still moving up, but you've lost pressure. You want to be able to know that, right? Okay, peeps, that's a lot of information. Enjoy your support and resistance. Enjoy that little tidbit about your stochastic. I hope you try and use it. If you want to ask any questions below, go right ahead. In the meantime, delete your csc-HARSI and go and load the new one. Peace out.